Hello! So, for today, we are going to start where we left yesterday. And yesterday we did a new attack type in our game. We're going to program to the full next stage. And I hope you all had a beautiful day today. It was very hot, it's still very hot in my room here, so I have to be a little bit comfortable and just have to try to not to sweat. That's why I'm a little bit loosey with my clothes today. It still feels like we have like 2 p.m. and with sunlight and everything, but here in Germany it's actually 11 p.m. and it's still pretty hot outside, and just amazing how hot this summer is overall. But whatever. We're going to program this this time our character. We made a new attack type, which is an instant ray attack, a hit scan attack on any enemy that is in front of us. We just have to hit. And what we did last time, see, this is the attack that we programmed. But we still are using placeholder sounds and effects for this effect. You see that there's a line where this attack is going to land. And along the line we are displacing some particle effects, and we are also showing a hit or miss effect with a sound attached to it. So if you hear this, if you spawn this way, at the end there's going to be a hit or miss effect, which is going to hold our sound also, which is automatically going to play, and the player will immediately hear, okay, I missed this attack or I hit this attack. So pretty easy to tell what is going on. The only thing that is not set up yet is in the code. We have to do some functions for the end of this attack, because this attack has some special interaction with other skills, and these skills are going to activate if you hit your basic attack. Your basic attack can activate stronger attacks, which are then automatically going to be equipped on the character, and then you can use this new stronger attack instead of your basic attack. And this time this is done to have different kinds of attacks, but I didn't want them in the game to have a weapon wheel, like, or to press a key for different weapons. So this is a way to simplify how to equip weapons, and you also make a new, more unique system to have the player think about what he's doing. Like, he's thinking about, okay, if I hit this attack, I get a stronger attack, and this attack, actually, there's a possible choice for the player, can be also the stronger attack can be a bite effect. And this bite effect can trigger a different kind of attack. So there's a lot of thought that can go on in the player there, and we want to avoid spamming attacks. We don't want a normal shooter where you just play shoot and kill enemies. I mean, that's great games, but it's been done before. We have to innovate, we have to do something else. This is also why every attack will cost us 5 health to kind of avoid spamming attacks. 5 health is not much, especially in the later stages. You can have up to 400 health later, and and you also have a lot of healing effects that you are going to pick up later, and then the 5 health do not hurt at all. And but since we have a cost, You avoid spamming. You want to get the player to play the game the way you intend to. And you can actually force the player a little bit into the niche that you want the player to be in. You have to be careful. So if the player feels like he has no choice and he cannot influence how he plays, and it doesn't matter what he does, he has to play the game you intend to anyway, then it's not fun. That's also why we have all these skill choices. Player should feel some kind of control always. This is the most important thing in a game. A game is a sequence of interesting choices. This is actually a very important definition of games. A game is a sequence of interesting choices. And this is why every choice we make, every choice that we let the player be able to make, should be as hard as possible. You never want the player to have two choices and to have the player look at them and instantly know, okay, this attack is so much better than the other attack, I need to pick choice 2. You never should know. Or the best case is both of choices are equally strong, and it's just it comes down to the player preferences. What kind of style does he want to play? This is the optimal ground where we want to be in. So we want to have an optimal balance. We don't want the player to have auto choices, like if you if you pick the wrong choice because you prefer a different style, but your choice is bad, and you punish the player for having fun. That's never a good idea. This is why we have to think a lot about the balance between choice 1 and 2, and we also have to do this today. We have to look at choice 1 and 2 and if they are equal. And currently, right now, I can tell you choice 2 is stronger than choice 1. Choice 1 is a projectile attack. I can show it to you. Projectile attack. This is choice 1. This does 50 damage. It's actually quite hard to hit. Compared to choice 2, we'll show you choice 2 now. Yeah, you see, this is so much easier to hit because it immediately hits. This is not balanced very well. So we have to nerf this ability a little bit, so that the player will have a harder time picking the right ability. There's no choice around that. So where do we start? First of all, we don't have for choice 2 an animation. However, since we have to balance these two choices, the animation should match the final attack. We have to modify choice 2 first. So I've talked about what we can do about choice 2 being superior to choice 1. And here in the script, we have to search for the function which defines what happens when we cast choice 2. So let's look for the fire function. And it's somewhere here. This is it. The fire function, which is called whenever we do an attack. So let's see. Our choice 2 is. It's here. Okay. And in this case, we only set up that the type of attack is choice 2 and play the animation. Nothing else is happening here. Okay. Fine. And then in this line of code, this is important because we are probably going to remove this completely. This if statement is wait for 0.5 seconds. So why is this in the game? What does this do? Nothing has happened yet. No attack is spawned. Wait for 0.25 seconds. And then we are going to instantiate our projectile attack. Or our away cast here. And 2 times we are going to call this function, which is going to cast the away attack for us. There's no delay before we do this. Total time, casting time is 0.25 seconds. There's 2 problems with this. There's 2 problems with this. First of all, if we now spam this attack, we will do the hit scan attack, wait 0.25 seconds, do another hit scan attack, and then function is over and we can do another attack immediately. And I can show you that the rhythm of the attack is kind of broken if we would just spam the attack. I will do it right now. This is way too fast. Way too fast. So we need to slow down this attack. You can spam this attack and have such a high DPS with not much of an effort. So we need to first pick this up and say always yield return 0.25 seconds. And we probably want to remove this bracket later. Actually, let's do it right now. Let's remove this bracket right now. And then test the attack. Now what is going to happen is we have a delay before the hit scan is cast. This feels a little bit odd for a lot of players. It will feel a little bit odd for players. Because we have a short delay before we cast. It makes it very hard to hit if you're not used to it. We want this. It's fair because all other attacks have this too. So we don't want the skill for this attack to be lower than for other attacks. Let's test it out. Okay. Felt a little bit more rhythmic, felt a little bit better. I'm still not convinced that this is equal to choice 1 where I have a single attack. The big disadvantage we had here was the total casting time compared to the other attacks is now 0.5 seconds. And other attacks just wait for 0.25 seconds, half the time, and then instantiate their attack. There's one exception here, which is skill choice 2-2. And this spawns 5 different attacks. Okay. So the total casting time for this ability is also 0.5 seconds. Interesting. The other attack that we have is a total casting time of 0.25 seconds. Now we have to think if this is going to be fair or not. If we have an attack that is twice as long as the other attack, but it's way easier to hit. It's way easier to hit. To have a projectile flying to the enemy, anything can happen. The enemy is going to move. He can jump. You have trouble aiming this while you're jumping. It's way harder to aim this when you're jumping. So I would say let's test it out a little bit. Let's test how fast I can kill this enemy. I think the DPS of choice 1 is higher now because the casting time is the total casting time is half the time of choice 2. But I'm still going to think I'm still thinking it's a little bit inferior. Let's just make the test. The challenge of this test will be I'm going to take no damage, or try to take no damage from this basic enemy, which is a level 1 basic enemy. We are going to try to kill him as fast as possible. So to avoid being hit, we have to jump and aim by jumping. And this enemy here, right now, he's not like in the game. This is the enemy. Sorry. He has 500 health. This is for testing. I want to be able to spam attacks. I will set him to 300. Because 500 feels a little bit too much. Makes the test a little bit feel out of place. I will first do this test with 300 health and then with 50 health. No, 50 health. Yeah, 50 health and 100 health. So what we are going to do is to make this test multiple times. I will duplicate the enemy that we have here. Put away this bat. Put away this power up. These are... We don't want to test this right now. This is only distracting us. Soldier. Go over here. So this peasant going to have 100 HP. And the last peasant I'm going to duplicate him. Let's make it 2. And those 2 will have 50 health. Just to have the feeling like it is in the game. The enemy is going to have 50 health in the game. And the first test will be our DPS. We can DPS the enemy faster. And the second test, where he has 100 health, is how does it feel if he has realistic health. The third test is against the real enemy with just 50 health. This is really the basic enemy type in the game. How is it going to feel against him? So, take a look. Okay, turn around. Okay, test start. Okay. Okay, I think I took a lot more damage than I actually thought. I actually really thought that I can dodge every attack. Maybe I just am a little bit too rusty. Now I'm going to do the same test with skill choice 1. The outer fields. We have to turn off other abilities. This was skill, I think it was skill 8. Was going to activate, but I'm going to deactivate skill 9 nonetheless. Actually, the difference was not as big as I did expect. I have to immediately actually decide if I keep it this way, change something. Where am I at this time? I'm thinking about a slight increase in casting time overall. I think it felt a little slightly superior, and I want to test it again with 0.35. I think 0.35 is going to be the number that we are going for. We have to declare an if statement to declare that we only want to wait for 35 seconds if we use this kind of attack, which is defined here. Copy this. Modify it a bit and tell him if we use skill choice 02, we are going to wait 0.35 seconds. Let's see if this feels a little bit more balanced. Now, I want it to feel like a little bit hard to aim, but not too hard. And actually, I don't want to increase the length of the casting time anymore, because now it's 0.7 seconds and this is very high. This is actually very high. 0.5 seconds was high, and now it's even less, even more. Sorry. This feels way harder. Okay. I think we overdid it. I think didn't feel good. That felt a little bit on the top. So I'm trying out 0.3 seconds. Hopefully we now hit a good middle ground. I don't want to make it 0.29, 0.28. It would be a little bit too specific for my taste. lost the mouse. Okay, that felt good. That felt good. Okay, now I think this is what I want to go for. This felt like a little bit clunky, a little bit low in the DPS, but it still hit scans. So you have the best of both worlds. You have a hit scan, but it's also slow and clunky. And compared to the standard bullet, which is really where you have to put effort into aiming, but it's going, at least it's going to come out immediately. This is a nice middle ground. Now, know how long the attack is going to be. Going to be 2 times 0.3 seconds, so it's 0.6 seconds in total. And what we are missing is an animation. This animation is missing. We now have to implement it. First, we are going to save this. We will have to save a lot now, because sometimes in the animation Unity is going to crash, and there's nothing we can do about it. We have to deal with this. So saving is key here. So you see, there's a lot of animations, and I'm going to add a new animation right now. First, I want to choose the white folder. Bone-based animations, yes. Look for a very similar name. And then insert here, hit scan. This is going to be our new animation. So right now you see the animator here. The animation window right here at the bottom is empty. And we are going to make our animation with this animation window. Now I can show you if we use a different type of attack, like here. You see that the character is moving. And this is a basic blood magic attack. So this is very useful for us just as a starting point. We don't want to start at 0. So now we copy this. Immediately we see that the character is going to put himself into a start position. Now the question is, what kind of attack do we want to display? And in this instance, we want to show the player to attack twice with his hand. Do a hit scan, like, yeah, but a little bit more magnet. Go attack twice. And at the start, we have to think of a charge move. So he's charging for 0.3 seconds, then extending his hand and doing the same thing again. So something like, yeah. Oh, it could also be the same hand. Let's try it. Let's look into the camera and just look how this is looking. Watch. Yeah, I think this looks stupid. I think you should use both hands. First the first hand, then the other hand. Looks much better if he uses both hands for each attack. So, how are we going to do this? First of all, we have to keep in mind this timeline here. It says 02, 03, 04, 05, and then 1. This timeline here is 1 second, but we have to actually divide this This is 60. I don't know. Actually, don't know what unit they're using here. 60 milliseconds? No. Yeah, they are dividing 1 second by 60 units. So one second has 60 units here. So this 0.5 is not 0.5 seconds. This is actually, I have to calculate, 0.7 7.885 seconds, I think. So a very useless numbers actually. 0.3 is 0.5 seconds. This is 0.25 seconds. This is 0.33 seconds. Ah, damn, can't we use another time scale? This is 0.33 seconds, which is 1 unit. 1 second. It's 175. 0.0175 seconds. Oh damn. Oh dear, these are really clunky numbers. But we can say this is 0.33 seconds, and this is the next frame going to be 0.3475 seconds. So roughly 0.35. This is going to be our next point we want to be in. To keep this in mind, this is 66 seconds, 6775. 695. Okay, this is going to be our end point. Can we use a different time scale or something? I don't think so. We can use frames, which is basically useless for us because we want to use seconds. Okay, so we have to keep in mind 0.21, 0.42. These are the endpoints when the hit scan attack is going to display. Then we want to have a charge animation start. Our start is going to be, I don't know, I haven't thought about this actually. Maybe like he's going to put back his hand, pass the way, and just push it forward. Yeah, I think that makes sense. It's just see, high elbow. Elbow is high, shoulder high, and cast forward. Okay. Now, how do we do this? We can go into record mode and just drag the character now in the position that we want him to be in. We are going to first use there's some targets for the right hand and left hand. These are going to automatically resolve where the hand going to be. These are more useful if you have longer chains of bones. These resolvers are built for cases where you really have maybe 6 or 5 maybe even just 2 or 3 bones, and you have to consider you only want the hand, for example, to reach an end position. And you don't want always to move everything by hand, to make every bone rotation by hand. This is what these solvers, hand targets, do. This is actually a fabric solver. Fabric solver 2D. I've decided to use this. So first we are going to look, do we want our elbow to be in? Which position do we think is good? Maybe like this, then push forward. Oh, it doesn't look right. Okay. Oh, this position looks like garbage. Let's try to have it like this. I have to do some compromises because this model does not support a lot of movement. But it's a little bit dated in this case. We could also think about if we use this animation right here. Use the animation, scan, and dynamically, only for the animation, change sprite resolver. Trying to do this right now, but it does not let me select the arm. What I want to do is find the sprite, the arm. Gets this one. And because this looks a little bit clunky, we can change the order in the layer. Because this looks a little bit more natural. Look up how much we need. It looks like the biceps is on layer 23, I think. 22. I think it's in 21 or 22. So I'm putting this to order 23, just to be sure. Then I'm going to this up again. No, this looks clunky. Not going to. This is not going to work. Okay, so skip that. I had the idea maybe that if we change the order in the layer, that it's maybe going to look a little bit better. Actually looks very clunky. I think we should not go much further back than this. This comes with a model. We maybe could edit the mesh right here for the sprite resolver, and it may be possible to do this without this looking all janky all over the place. But there's no guarantee that we can do it. There's no guarantee that we can do this. So let's just not do it right now and make this start position. So okay. So I think the other arm can be a little bit more down. Go a little bit more down like this. And you roughly have the same start position. And now his right arm going to snap forward. It's going to be at its extend position at second 0.21. This we just select this point in the timeline, send the arm forward as far as we can, and here we go with our first release. So this is the first point where the character is going to release his first attack, then second 0.2. Oh, we have forgotten the second arm here. Has to go back a little bit. Still reaching forward, and then 0.2. His left arm is going to extend forward and do the second cast, while his right arm is going back because it has already released its cast. Left arm looks a little bit... Oh, I've changed the position of the arm. It's not good. I think it's this. Yes. This is bone position. I delete. I accidentally... What happened is I accidentally clicked this bone. And if you change the position of the bone, you see what's happening. Sometimes you accidentally click these positions and get all these janky stuff going on. We don't want this. Okay. Of course, we don't want this. So now we can look at the rest of his body. He's going to extend both arms forward. And we can look at the head, if the head does some movement. And for this, I'm just using my camera. I'm just looking at my stream. I'm going to look what my head actually does. Okay, I would say the head is shaking a little bit with each release. Just from the force, there's going to be a short period where the velocity that comes with the arm, where it stops, and your whole body is pulled forward. And you kind of have to stop it with your whole body, to just stop your whole force that you accelerated forward. So, control this again. So you saw slight movement in the head, barely noticeable. I'm still going to implement this. Because if the character does not move with all this animation, you have to do more than the arms. And if you don't do this, it's going to look too stiff. Only using the arms is not looking natural. You use your whole body for every movement, and you don't want the character to look stiff. What we are not going to animate is his legs, because the position of his legs are going to be determined by whether you move or not. We have an extra layer for that. And this layer controls the legs completely. And we don't want to override it. We don't want to override the leg position. So we only have the upper body left. And then we have another condition. We cannot use bone 1, this bone here, because this holds important information for our hit scan, as it has 3 different spawns. And these spawns actually hold Raycast. This one, I think, is it? Is it not? That's a line render. Yes, I think this is our line render, and this is how we scan for our opponents. And if we are going to hit anything, this is our Raycast scan. It's not for our current attack mode, for our current attack what we are spawning. It's for every attack some kind of spawn. A little bit hard to explain right now. This is attached to his body, and if you move around his body, this is what we are scanning the area with, and we are going to detect if an enemy is in front or not. This is why we cannot change the rotation of bone 1. So bone 1 is forbidden. We can change bone 2. 2 is not off limits. So let's see. And this is where we would actually in real life maybe move forward our body, and at this our head would jiggle, and not jiggle, be pushed forward a little bit, and we would immediately then go back with our head. This. Look forward again. This position we actually want forward. Now let's see how this looks. This looks terrible. Terrible. Why? First of all, this is too fast. There's too much movement. We have to tune this down. Then there's no motion afterwards. See, his whole body is moving, and then his body is going awkwardly stiff. So first, there's a point between the extension of the arm, I think here, where his head is going back into the normal position. I think this right here. And his back would also go back. Which was this? Bone 2. Going to go back to the start rotation. Then in the end, bone 2 would be going back at the standard position. Look at this. Then I think in this position right here, our arm does not look really extended. Can we do something about this? No, not really. We have slightly more extended arm would be nice. Yeah. This head is going to jiggle again, like we did before. Right. some reason. Head. No, it's not the head. But it's this bone. I also have to copy bone 5. Rotation. We have a natural looking position right here. Yes, this is looking better. Okay, let's look at this. Oh no. I think the movement of the left arm in the back position is not enough. And also I think it's not the arm push forward is not snappy enough. First of all, I want to fix this position, this left arm. I want it to be more backward. You still want to see this. Okay. And then for both positions, I'm going to use 0.06. No, 0.06 time intervals difference. I'm going to move the right hand a little bit lower. So now his arm will suddenly snap. Okay. It can be a little more forward here. And then 0.6 time intervals was the second attack. We are going to do the same thing with the left arm. Push it down right here. So now it will suddenly snap forward. It's looking a little bit janky because the left arm, we don't really see it extended right here because we never see it in this position. Really. I'm going to put this back one time interval. And also at 0.45, which is most likely not going to be displayed, I'm going to put him into the start position. And now let's look how we go. The rhythm is off. Something with the rhythm seems off. Okay, let's put this at 2 again. Let's look at the right arm position. Right here, he's not snapping really. Compared to the left arm in this. Actually, they have pretty much the same position before they go to the... Oh, no. Here. This is the right arm position before he snaps forward very fast. This is the left arm position before it snaps forward pretty fast. Those look okay. The arm, right arm here. Oops. Right arm here would be a little bit more back. Look forward. Rotate forward, sorry. Not sure if this changed anything. I have the feeling that just too fast, that we don't really see this arm position for some reason. And trying to maybe put this up a little bit more. This. I want to play this animation, but I'm a little bit disturbed by the UI here. We are going to be pretty much near to the motion that we want to display. Now we have a little bit motion in his back, which is okay. His head is jiggling a little bit, but he still feels kind of stiff. Maybe, just maybe, this is going to be fixed because the movement of the legs is all going to come in and maybe save us here a little bit. Just maybe. Not too sure about that though. Not too sure about it though. Okay, let's implement this. But we can still change this animation. This is the big advantage of having this animation being set up in the animation window. And this means having this animation play right now is great, because we can change it all the time later. If we decide this is that this animation is bullshit, we can just start from the start again and set it up perfectly new. The big advantage compared to stop motion, which would be if I would now open Adobe and just paint every frame where it's moving, is we have now the power to dynamically change the animation if we do anything wrong. In stop motion, when you paint every single step of the character moving, you have to pretty much have the experience and a little bit of luck actually to hit the right animation every time and the first time you actually do it. And sometimes you end up with animations and put them in the game, and I actually did that, and they look like shit, and you just look at it and say, no, I've just put in 30 sprites and I have to do them again because I actually forgot how the spine of a character works or something. But it just doesn't work out, or you have some jumps in the animation which don't look good in the final product. So we have set up this animation. How are we going to use this? We are going to use the animator for this, and I think this is this is the animation that has popped up now. This is going to be our new attack animation. So how are attack animations handled in the game? First of all, I'm going to delete this. Yes, that's right. because this is a wrong layer. We have different layers. This is the base layer for character animation, and we have a special blood magic layer we actually want to put this in. As I said, we have a leg control layer. This is just for the legs when we're casting, so we can move forward, backward, and just stand or jump. And this is going to control the upper body while we cast. This is just for the upper body. And you see this is pretty straightforward. This animation is pretty much a coder style animation. Normally most animators are using states, and they go from state to state and define every state, how they are going to interact with each other. This is how a programmer does it. This is just simply called by an animation right here. There's triggers. This is just by it's actually a condition. It's not. That's not. Okay. Interesting. Okay, there's a condition that has to be true, and then we have an exit condition. Conditions where we have to exit this animation immediately. I think it's when the main animation has ended, or when he's dead. When we are going to die, we have immediately to pull out and say, okay, stop the animation, we are going to die. Dying is going to interrupt everything. So he's going to exit this animation and then can go into the dying animation. Okay, so how do we import our new awesome animation that we have just defined? Simply by creating a new state. We're going to call this, or we called it here in the code, blood magic hit scan, and then set up the motion. So this is the motion that we have just defined. We're going to look into the program and click on looping time off. So we don't want this to be a loop animation. So it should not repeat itself. Actually, when the animation is finished, we should access this animation every time. But maybe something goes wrong, and then we don't want to loop in this animation. So we're going to define a transition from no motion into this blood magic hit scan animation. And then we are going to define two transitions back. Just look here, there's two animations back in every kind of motion. So if this works, I'm going to assume that we can just repeat the same structure again. Because when I did this whole structure here, I was pretty much thinking a lot more about animation than I'm doing today. So I'm pretty much sure that we can just repeat this structure. So the next thing that we need is this condition. And we have not defined this. It actually looks like a bool, which I said is a little bit confusing for me, because I normally use triggers for animations. But there might be an explanation that I did not want this animation to automatically, that there was a problem with getting out of this animation, and that I used the bool for this because of that. So first of all, we want to immediately go into this animation, and this transition right here, this is if you are this is a little bit advanced. If you have magnitude of animations and you want to go from one animation into the other, you can have an exit time, and I'm using this actually in some characters, but I don't want to this to be the case right now. I want to go into this motion immediately. Don't want an exit time or anything. These are not bad settings, but we don't want this. We want to go in and out immediately because I want to just react to the script. The character is going to turn around, and it's also something that's more an animator thing. The thing is also, if you don't use this from the start or don't use it in every animations, it's pretty hard to get your head around these transition durations, because you're very fast going into cases where you think you did it right, and then you have a transition duration which overlaps with some other transition that you want to do in the right second, and you're still in the transition of another animation, and then it's not going into the animation that you wanted to. And this can be sometimes really, really hard to debug. This is why I don't actually like to use it. Maybe a little bit dumb in some cases, but in this case I did not use it at the start, and I'm not going to use it now either. For example, I want to display the death animation immediately, and we have a very, very important difference between the death animation and the cast animation, and that is that you will see your character from the front, and the blood magic animation is the side animation. I'm going to show this right here. Turn off preview. This character has one sprite sheet for front, one for side, and one for his back. And oh, I should save now, because this is what actually happened to me a lot of times. Now Unity can crash, and then you will have just lost all of your progress, and this is very bad. This is just so horrible when this happens to you. So now we have our character set up. Everything is saved and fine, and we can test out our animation. Hopefully it will be displayed right at the start. Let's see. Hey, something is not right here. Something is not right here. The character is stopping his animation after his first cast. So I have to look up where his animation is set to 14. It is actually after we have done all this stuff. It actually looked like he's only playing half of the animation. Looked like that. Going to drag the animator into my second screen, sorry, but now I can drag it into my first screen actually, so you can see what's going on. I'm going to play again, and then just look what's happening inside of this animation. Is it going to play to the end? Hey, that did not select the character. Oh. Okay. So what I assume is happening here is following. I need to animate window again. Okay. What I assume is happening here is the character is going into his animation. He loses 1 frame or so when he goes into this animation. And this is why we look a little bit off when we do this animation. So how do we fix this? Is simply by doing this 1 second back, 1 time interval back, and this 2 is going to be put back 1, going to be put back. So animation, and it looks a little bit less janky now, and this now is going to display after 0.33 seconds and the 0.66 seconds. But the big difference is that if we lose some time at the start, because the startup is a little bit slower than I actually guessed, then we are going to arrive at this not at 0.66 but 0.7 seconds. So let's try this out. That's pretty weird. Okay, so just for the animation, I want to give this a little bit more time. What I'm going to do is this line of code, we are setting the animation name to false. We could wait a little bit more just for the animation to finish off playing. But then we would have the problem might intervene with other animations that we are going to play immediately afterwards, like the jump after animation. We don't set this to false immediately when we need to, because now we could be jumping or do something else. We would have a pretty big problem. So now I think this is not the best solution. The best solution is just to move back the arms time a little bit more. So hopefully we do hit our target. And hopefully this will not look too janky. Let's just take a look. I think this looks much better because you can actually see the arm moving forward. Long casting time does interfere though with the aiming system, and the aiming system is waiting for 0.75 seconds after it's, and is going to stop aiming after that. Going to stop aiming after that. Actually, I want to set this aim timer to 0. Also maybe good for other blood magic casts. I want to set it to 0 when we start casting. So what this function does, this aiming system here, this function, check aiming, aim, stop aiming, dash aim, they are all part of a system, just so you can turn your character around and aim it into the direction. And when we cast a spell, we actually want to reset the timer of this system. Because I felt like it's the character is going back into his default animation too fast. Okay. I think this helped a little bit, barely noticeable. It's a little bit easier to notice this when you're actually playing. Sometimes watching and playing just feels way different. Setting this timer to 0 when we start casting a spell really helps a little bit. So what are we going to do next is we have now made up our animation for the system, for this cast. We still have to do the particle effects, which are placeholder, and the sound effects, which are placeholder right now. So, two very important things to do. We have to set up video clips for the new animation. Maybe I think I have to record a lot of video clips. So maybe this is something that we should do later. We are going to skip this because we are going to record most of the skill videos later, because there's a lot that has changed inside of the system which is not displayed at the current skill videos. The current skill videos, these are videos when you pick a skill, then you have a video that explains you what kind of abilities are you going to pick. And in the old system you could not see how much damage you did in the video. Now we have a number pop up when you that will display how much damage you do, and this alone means that we have to record a lot of new videos. So we are going to skip that, but we still have one thing left in the code, and that is we have to set up the functions for other skills and empowerments are not implemented into the current code right now. Am I meaning? The def functions. This is supposed to be called. This is supposed to be called if the function dies. So we have now to look up what does it do. It says it's dying, it has hit, and it's going to display special effects if we have enabled certain skills. Okay. And it's going to set skill 8 ready whether or not we have selected the skill. Because if we hit with an ability, then we can enable another kind of attack. And at last we are going to play a miss sound. And I probably don't want this. I don't know, because I actually do have this on the miss effect. So this probably is not a good idea to have this in the code at all. So I kind of have to decide if I want to maybe skip this right now, but then I would have to adjust the code in the other attack functions. So since we have a miss effect that we are going to display if we don't hit, I'd actually say let's just write an exception right here. We have some kind of maybe just public bool. This is like this skill 8 has some exceptions, and we could also have a public bool for skill 02, which is going to say if we have skill 02, the miss sound is going to be on the prefab. Don't play this. Don't play this. And I'm going to look at the other prefabs right now of other attacks, because I want to know why I did this the way I did. Looks like, yeah, skill 8 does not have a miss sound, for example. I think then it's also in skill 8. I think they also have some kind of disappearance particle effect. Yes, they do. I remember. They do have particle effect when they disappear. They also have their miss sound attached to that. So let's go into prefabs. Look into projectiles. These are our attacks. This is a hit scan attack, which I have defined. This is it's an epic attack. This is a normal attack. And let's look it up. This is special hit effects. Normal hit effect. An empowered empowered hit effect. Okay. Those have very special effects. I want just to copy these effects. And what we are actually going to do is and maybe just copy the fields, Can I copy the fields? Because I'm too lazy to search for the objects every time. Yes. Okay. Much smarter than just typing in every effect. And then we actually have defined a hit effect. And oh no, oh no. I don't want these effects. Now remember special about this script. It's normally attached to a projectile attack, which is normally at the position where the enemy is standing and where he is hit. In our case, the script is going to be at your character hands. Our script is going to be a game object is spawned at the character hands here. And if we display hit effect at the player, it's going to be the wrong position. We have to do this actually. We have to do this in this script. Okay. Okay. So we do have to define a public boolean and tell this function that please don't spawn any effect. We will do it in the other script. Maybe, just maybe, this will not be the only case where we have to define this in another script. So we are going to define we are not naming this variable skill 02. We're going to name it, makes sense here, no hit effects. No hit effects. I think is pretty much straightforward. Then I want to see what is going to be this miss sound. Get component audios. And I don't want this. If I have no hit effects. We don't need this. So first, now we're going to use this boolean pretty much. We have to look up everything that is going to be empowerment. Now we have excluded all the miss effects that are going to be made with this script. Simply have to look for the check mark that we can now use as a script. It will appear very soon when it has compiled. While it's compiling right now, and then we have unit crashing, which is pretty much what I was warning about all the time, and thankfully we have not lost any progress because we saved. So I'm going to to straight up say I'm going to make a short break here because Unity crashed. I'm going to restart Unity and this will maybe take 5 minutes. So short break. I think this is a good time because there's not much happening for the next 5 minutes. Be right back. So I've used the time to try to get some fresh air into the room. It's currently 1 a.m. in Germany, right here, and I opened the window, let in some fresh air, and it actually feels still like the same air like before, because I looked at my thermostat and it said we have 27 degrees Celsius right now, which is pretty much way too warm for this this time. And I was standing at the window and just was thinking, okay, it's night. Here's the cooling off. So yeah, pretty much a lot of heat coming down into Europe right now. And I also saw the weather forecast for the next week. It's going to be very, very rough. And we actually really have a day where we had 42 degrees Celsius forecast, which is pretty much a record. So I think it will change, but very excited to see that. So where did we stop? We had our character set up, we had an animation, and now we have to check Unity crashed. We have to check if the animation was saved or not. I specifically did save the animation. The animation is still there. Very good. Now we have to check the layer. The layer still set up. Yes, this is correct. So very good that we saved before it crashed. Maybe saved in half an hour or 15 minutes before it crashed. Something around that. And the only thing that we have to do now is we have to set up the prefab again. And we didn't do actually that much. Just copied some values. So 5 minutes should be enough to fix this. Let's go. Go into the character. Projectiles. This is a script. A new boolean. Oh, even the prefab has saved. Yes. Prefab are going to save. I think the prefabs are going to be saved every time you edit them, because I think they are saved on the hard drive immediately. And now we have this checkmark that we are going to set. No hit effects. And we can basically just start where we left Unity when it crashed and edit the code. So, where are we at? We have to call the dev functions. There's also a to-do here. Instantiate empowered skill effects. Okay. Interesting. So I think other blood magic attacks initiate, not instantiate. Initiate their empowerments at the start of their attack. So we're looking at this standard projectile, and we are then okay. I want to change its name because standard is written with a D, not a T. And then we are going to look at this function, look at the script. Then we want to see how does it set up its special abilities. We have a launch function. A little bit messy. Pretty old code. Sorry. To look into this function. Doesn't do anything. That is important for us. Nothing that is important for us. So why is our attack only 25 damage? It's empowered. I think we have never considered the additional damage in our hit function. I think that's the problem. Let's take a look. As additional damage, at the start of the first frame, it's going to add the attack damage to the additional damage. But in this waycast, we're going to there's a big problem. Oh, I see. When we instantiate our hit scan attack, it's going to immediately, for the next frame, hit scan an enemy and do its damage. This blood magic functions initiates and adds its additional damage before the first frame update to its attack damage. The problem is the hit scan attack is hitting the enemy before the first frame update. So this is never going to be initialized. This is not going to be initialized, and we will have an error. We will have an error with this function, with this blood magic functions. We need to think how we can avoid this. And I think what I do is a little bit stupid right now, but my idea is public void init what's the class name? Init loot magie functions. So what we want to do is, instead of doing this at the start, start is right. We want to call this in the init function, which we can now call from the awake. No, we don't want to call this from the awake. You now can call this inside of the character script and specifically say when we are going to initialize additional functions. And this is pretty straightforward. After we have set up the additional damage, set if it's empowered, and if we do want to do something with additional abilities. So last thing we want to is get this blood magic function script and then just for the init function. So this function now does not need a start function. We could have also done it with a wake function, but then we would have the problem. We could not use the awake function, because the problem with the awake function would be that it would be called immediately when we instantiate the object. we would instantiate this game object. It's instantiated before we call this a function here. And then we would not have set up the additional damage and how these different skills interact with this function class. Okay, so we need to specifically define this function and specifically call, okay, we're finished with initializing our stuff here, and now you do the rest. Now you can sum up your additional damages we have set up, do it, but we don't want to do this at the first frame. We want to do it now immediately. Okay, this is the first step that we have done. And now we move this to do. Our first to do is done. Second to do is call the functions, the functions. Okay, let's do this. Let's do this. Okay, pretty straightforward, but we don't want to have this hit effect anymore, because we don't want to have a hit effect in our hit scan class and in our blood magic functions class. This would be 2 times the same thing. Don't want this. We have this public variable normal hit effect. We're going to use this. Don't need this in every class. So here we go. Now we have this in the functions. And now we have to specifically copy parts of this code just for the empowerments. So what I'm going to do is I'm going... Oh, hello! Yo, yo, yo! What's up? Holy shit, I actually was a little bit scared. So what we want to do here is to... You really surprised me right there. Thank you for waiting me with a party of 2 people. So what I'm doing right now is I'm setting up a function just for empowered hit effects. First stream, pretty much, I started last week, to be honest. So yeah, it's pretty much first time streaming time, and I'm pretty new to the project, and I'm also have to work on my performance a lot, because when I was watching my VODs, I saw that I had a lot of problems with just speaking freely. Thank you for the follow-up. Same here. After 3 months, still feel like a newbie. Yeah, it's pretty much you code, and you have to concentrate so much and focus on your code. And then talking about your code at the same time, it's sometimes pretty rough, I have to say. And thank you for waiting and looking into my stream. What I'm doing right now is making an ability for a 2D game. I can actually show this, what I'm doing right now. I'm doing a hit scan attack that you can pick up as a player. And I'm just playing play right now. So this is a test level. This is why it's pretty ugly, but test levels don't have to be nice. And I'm coding a hit scan attack. Yeah, you see this? I'm setting up the animations, the sounds, and the hit effects right now. So we have a pretty easy attack. Let's try to kill someone. Okay. And now what I'm doing is setting up the hit effects when we hit something. Because everything right now is still a little bit placeholder. He dead. It's actually pretty nice to have all this blood splatter effect. It took me, I think it took me a whole week just for the splatter effect to have this display on the tile map. So right now I'm setting up the hit functions. I have some functions where if you hit, you can do double the amount of damage. And then we want to display a special explosion effect. So let's do this. So first I'm going to copy all this code from the special function as script that it is attached to the game object, and then just copy this code and tell him that it is all inside of the script. Then I want to think what I actually need and what not. Okay, this is something that I don't need. Oh, feeling a little bit sleepy. You're from Europe? Yeah, I will check you. See you later. Czech. Ah. Okay, have a nice day in your Czech Republic. UK. Yeah, it's pretty late. I actually also said I have to work tomorrow and I just wanted to do 1-2 lines of code, you know. And yeah, I'm going to bed too soon. So have a nice sleep, bro. You too. Yeah, you know, 2 lines, 2 hours. And it actually is 200 lines in the end. So I have copied this code from our special function, dev function script, but I'm not too happy about this. The thing is, because this is basically the same code as this, kind of bad to just copy this, because if I change it here, I will maybe forget it in this code. So I have to delete this. No, this is not the right way. Also, the right way to do this. I have to rewrite this code so it does fit our hit scan case. This is pretty easy. I just have to define the position I want to spawn the hit effects. This is the reason why I wanted to copy this. So what I want to do is I want to have a new parameter, vector2, spawn hit effect spawn position. And instead of instantiating these effects as the transform position, I'm going to use this vector2 right now. Okay, pretty good. And this public boolean, I'm going to rename it no miss sound. No miss sound. I only need to use this boolean playing the miss sound. Good. So this is where I have to use my endpoint, which I have calculated before, and just insert it into the def functions. And I'm specifically saying if I missed, I'm going to instantiate the miss effect. Endpoint. And I want to use my own rotation. Okay, now I've improved my function very much for the case I've with my hit scan attack. Now every other function that use the def functions is going to throw a compiling error, because they need to specify where they want to display the hit effects. This is pretty much forward every time transform position. And instead of looking up every function which is wet, and just use the inspector here and find the usages, this def function. Now I can, because every time this will not be working, every time I can just specify this has to be called at the transform position. Good. Whoops. Okay, we're done. I think now we should be able to compile and look if we are going to display some new hit effects. And it crashed. Nice. Okay, I would say it's 1:30. I would say this is a good sign to stop coding for today, as it crashed 2 times. Maybe I should restart my PC. I don't know what kind of Stack Overflow this is, but it's not a good sign that it happens twice today. I think it has something to do with working with the animations, because Unity only crashes when I work with animations. When I'm just doing code, never crashes. So keep that in mind. Okay, then I would say thank you for today. I'm going to do my my usual schedule for the night, which is sleeping, and I hope you also enjoy your sleep. Good night.